Imagine living an ordinary life. Then one day, you decide to enter the world of smuggling, a world filled with chases, betrayal, and millions. The hero of our story today wasn't just an ordinary smuggler. He became a legend in the criminal underworld, so much so that the press dubbed him the Mad Smuggler. A man who risked his life hundreds of times, crossed impossible borders, and evaded the police in ways no one could have imagined. But the question is, how did it all begin? And how did the story of the man who thought he could never be caught end? The Mad Smuggler was born in a small, poor village. His father worked odd jobs, and the family barely had enough to eat. From childhood, he learned one thing: money is the only way to escape poverty. At 16, he left school. He worked in construction, then transporting goods, then as a truck driver. During his work, he discovered something that changed his life completely. There was a huge sum of money being paid to smuggle contraband across borders. At first, he refused. But need and poverty were stronger than his principles. And one night, he agreed to his first smuggling operation. The task was simple. He loaded several boxes into his truck without asking what was inside. All that was required was reach another city, delivery of the goods, receive an amount equivalent to a year's salary. During the journey, his heart pounded with fear. At the first checkpoint, everything stopped. The policeman approached the truck. He asked him several questions. Then he let him through. At that moment, he felt something very dangerous: easy money. And that's where his real journey began. He carried out one operation after another. Then he began to refine his methods. Secret tunnels, modified cars, cabinets inside fuel tanks, desert roads unknown to anyone. Little by little, he transformed from a mere driver into the head of an entire smuggling network. He had dozens of people working for him, millions of dollars, luxury cars, mansions, and considerable influence. But great success always attracts attention, and the authorities began searching for him everywhere. One night, secret intelligence reached the police. The Mad Smuggler was preparing for the biggest operation of his life. Roadblocks were deployed, helicopters took to the skies, special forces were mobilized. But the man had a network of informants, and when he learned about the operation, he refused to back down. Instead, he did something insane. He decided to drive the truck himself. The chase began. Police vehicles were right behind him. The speed exceeded 150 kilometers per hour. The desert road was rough and filled with holes. Then, suddenly, he vanished, as if he had disappeared into thin air. The police searched for hours without finding a single trace, and from that night on, he earned the name that would become his legend: the Mad Smuggler. But no criminal empire falls just because of the police. It falls because of betrayal. One of his closest associates felt he wasn't getting his share of the money, so he decided to cooperate with the authorities. He provided all the information: storage locations, the names of the partners, smuggling routes, even the hiding place of the ringleader, and the end was very near. One morning at dawn, the forces surrounded the house. The smuggler hadn't expected them to reach him. He tried to escape, but he found all roads blocked. After years of pursuit, it all ended in minutes. He was arrested, millions of dollars were seized, and his story became the talk of newspapers and news channels. the man who thought he was invincible, down with someone he trusted. The life of a smuggler may seem full of adventure, money, and luxury cars, but in reality it's a path fraught with fear, betrayal, and tragic ends. The story of the mad smuggler reminds us of one truth. You may be able to evade the law for years, but you cannot escape the consequences of your actions forever.